No genre can visually convey philosophy quite like sports anime. In Haikyuu, Furodate has each team embody a stylistic philosophy through their mottos. For example, Inarizaki plays under the banner, "We don't need the memories," which feeds into their style. Inarizaki puts all focus on the present moment, no extra thought about what accomplishments or failures defined the past. Karasuno's Fly represents the freedom in which the team plays. These mottos take form during gameplay, allowing Furodate to express philosophical dialogues through volleyball. When Karasuno overcomes Shiratorizawa, it isn't just a triumph for our characters, but an argument for the value of freedom and unique expression over traditional strength. My favorite team motto has to be Nekuma's Connect. Under the Connect banner, Nekuma's style of play offers the most cohesive team in the show. Sure, they have fantastic players like Yaku and Tora who will go on to play volleyball at the highest level, but compared to teams like Itachiyama and Fukurodani, they punch above their weight class. No player represents the Nekuma way more than their captain, Tetsurō Kuroo. At the start of each game, Kuroo tells his fellow players to ensure to breathe and play in a way that allows the maximum function of their brain, Kenma. Kuroo follows his words by employing a persistent read-blocking strategy. Kuroo is a player defined by his philosophy of teamwork. No matter what situations he finds himself in, he is able to fall back on his worldview and overcome the situation. Kuroo's beliefs run so deep that they end up reaching other characters in the show, to the point where Kuroo almost becomes a parental figure. Kuroo shows that to find success and reach your full potential, you must define your personal philosophy. Welcome to Annie Essays. Here we overanalyze anime and manga, with each video on the channel created under the belief that anime, same as film and literature, is worthy of in-depth criticism. If you want to support the channel, then consider pledging to my Patreon. More information about Patreon benefits at the end of this video. It is not easy to live dedicated to a philosophy. Developing a worldview may be the single most important thing a person can do. In the modern age, we are bombarded with new, often misleading information every day. How can we expect to sift through the noise if we don't have a defined and strong internal point of view? The same can be said for volleyball players. How can you make the correct split-second decision if you don't have a clear idea on what style of play you think is best? In each of Nekuma's matches, they always handle in-game adversity by falling back on their internal beliefs. For Kuroo, everything starts with the team. Nekuma achieves their methodical style of play because all 6 players on the court understand how their actions affect their teammates. Kuroo's philosophy may seem simple. Of course you want to connect with other players, but its implications are more complex. Shiratorizawa functions on pure talent, from Ushijima's attacks to Tendo's unpredictable blocking habits. Date Tech's belief in the Iron Wall means that each player goes for a bunch read blocks with the purpose of stopping spikers at the net. Even so, neither of these teams function as seamlessly as Nekuma. Nekuma's monster of a first-year Lev is the one to challenge Kuroo on his views on connecting. Lev offers a different type of player than what Nekuma is used to having, as he has a willingness to be seen as a star. During the prefectural tournament, Yaku gets on Lev for making a weak block, and Lev tells him it doesn't matter because Yaku is good enough to make the receive. In this moment, Lev's perspective is similar to something that you would find at Shiratorizawa, Lev trying to make a guess block and relying on Yaku's talent to cover if he guesses wrong. And Lev's perspective does have merit. Yaku is one of the best players in the country at his position, and his individual skill can make up for sloppy play at any time. This means that Lev's risky plays could pay off in the long run. I mean, there's no denying that Kageyama makes up for Karasuno's sloppy defense all the time, especially early in the series. However, Kuroo believes that no matter who is on your team, you should be making plays that benefit the whole and not the individual. At the end of the match, Lev learns how strong the philosophy of connecting can be. Lev finds himself playing without Haikyuu as a crutch. This means that Lev can no longer make risky decisions because his fellow first-year libero won't be able to cover so easily. As the game nears its end, everything clicks for Lev, as he makes a block with the purpose of clearing a path for Yuki. All it takes is a moment to show the value of Kuroo and Nekuma's philosophy. Kuroo's belief in the system pays off as players can be replaced, and only minor adjustments need to be made. It's important to note that Kuroo doesn't force this ideology on Lev. For one to create their own worldview, it must be done organically and internally. For Lev, it starts with a nudge from Kuroo, but takes form on the court, in a moment where he is forced to stand on his newfound beliefs in order to win the game. Where the idea of connecting is explored through Lev, Kuroo's read-blocking philosophy comes to life in Tsukishima. Before running into the maniacs that are Kuroo and Bokuto, Suki's philosophy was one of indifference. After his encounter with these freaks, Suki's perspective starts to change. Bokuto implants ideas of passion in Suki's mind, while Kuroo does the same with read blocking. The practice of read blocking is meant to put pressure on an opponent consistently throughout the game and to eventually transform that pressure into mistakes. Read blocking as a system functions at its best when the backline defense is in sync with the blockers. That is best shown through Karasuno's match versus Inarizaki, where Suki's methodical read blocking allowed for his teammates to dig Suna's spike late in the game. In that game, Suna goes from thinking Suki has no presence on the court to being impressed by the way he manipulated the game. Kuroo even comments on Suki's play as a spectator, stating that even he might have broken down and tried to go for a kill block instead of having the same level of patience that Suki had. Karasuno goes on to win that game, and it's in large part due to Suki staying persistent with his read blocking strategy. Kuroo's adherence to read blocking likely stems from him learning to play volleyball in a system like Nekuma's, but his ability to hold those standards are really where we can learn from him. You can see Kuroo's understanding of how his team should be functioning in that first practice match against Karasuno when you learn his backstory with Kenma. Kuroo won't allow Kenma to quit the team after his first year because he knows he can utilize Kenma's strengths better than their upperclassmen. Even in his second year of high school, Kuroo seemed to have a total worldview that allowed him to approach situations with clarity. And it's a different kind of clarity than we see Kenma have. Both are great friends and key cogs in the same team, but where Kenma's philosophy is driven by what he personally enjoys, leveling up, Kuroo's is driven by a sense of system. During the Tokyo qualifiers, we see how that system adapts to unexpected situations. If you have a foundation for which you believe, then no matter the problem, you'll have a clear answer. When Yaku goes out of the game with an injury, Kuroo has no qualms about not being subbed out for Kenma's plan. In their long-awaited national match against Karasuno, Kuroo functions at a high level. Now Suki is all grown, and the two players with the same philosophies go head-to-head. This match is unique from Kuroo's perspective. On one hand, Karasuno and Nekuma play with opposite styles, but on the other, Suki and Kuroo are similar types of players. Karasuno comes out on top in this match, and it shows how your worldview can be changed. These opposite teams also reflect each other in many ways. You get similar nuance from the Inarizaki match, where Kita doesn't believe in the "we don't need the memories" motto. One thing is for certain, you don't get a game of volleyball that good if both teams don't have deeply rooted philosophies about how to play. Adhering to your volleyball team's philosophy isn't necessarily enough to make the connection to the worldview we use in everyday life. Of course, Furudate doesn't stop at high school sports, but shows how Kuroo's well-defined worldview plays an essential role in how he will go on to live his life. His strong understanding of team dynamics makes you think he may end up as a coach. But even more fitting, Kuroo works in the promotional division of Japan's Volleyball Association. Kuroo understands that in the same way that read blocking is part of a complete defense, so too is promotion to the health of the game. Kuroo wants to get more eyes on volleyball and help players and the sport grow, which will result in stronger player and teams overall. In many ways, that is exactly what Kuroo does when he teaches Suki his approach to blocking. He believes in a larger world of volleyball where there are even more great players. Furudate dropped a perfect bonus chapter not too long ago that focuses on Kuroo getting the old crew together for an exhibition game. It is fitting that the character with some of the strongest internal philosophies would go on to grow the game in such an organic way. The way he carried himself on the court reflects the way his life turned out. That is the importance of Kuroo's worldview, and it allows him to navigate difficult situations on and off the court. I think the cultivation of worldview is one of the most critical things a person can do to reach their potential. No matter what situations you find yourself in, you need to have an ideology to fall back on. Furudate explores that through action in volleyball, and it extends to a larger purpose of art and criticism. One of the most accessible ways we have to expand our worldviews is by thinking deeply about the art we consume. Stories like Haikyuu allow us to expand and define what we believe about the world, and it does so by providing thrilling and emotional stories. That is why literary criticism is so important and can be applied to all levels of fiction. Tetsurō Kuroo has a systematic worldview where every part of the whole influences the larger product. That the smallest actions can have major influences on one's life. It could be something as simple as repeated read blocks offering information to teammates, or a charity game lifting up the larger community of volleyball players. For certain, no matter when things get difficult, Kuroo, and us as well, have our individual philosophies to fall back on. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. The Haikyuu movie comes out to the States in just a few days, so be on the lookout for a video about the film soon. If you want to support the channel, then consider checking out my Patreon. Through Patreon, you get access to this channel's Discord server, where you can join a community of anime and manga fans, as well as participate in the monthly anime watch-along discussions. Voting for the next series is going on right now, so make sure to check it out. You'll also get your name at the end of every video essay, and access to Patreon exclusive posts. On the highest tier, you also have the opportunity to choose a short topic for every 3 months of subscription. I get a ton of comments suggesting video topics, so this is the way you can get those topics made. Thanks again for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.